So before I start this video, I just wanted to say shout out to Best Girl and all of the Ice Queen fans out there. This one's for you guys. Hey guys, what's up? Murder of Birds here. Welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, then I welcome you and I hope you enjoy the content. Now right off the bat, some of you guys might recognize the similar theme and style of this video. And that's because I am back to share some more news, information, and my personal impressions on the next installment of the official RWBY manga anthologies. Back in May, Viz reached out to me and offered me an incredible partnership opportunity to deliver my genuine first impressions of the first installment of the official RWBY manga anthologies that they're producing, being Red Like Roses. That video was with the intentions of me sharing my thoughts of the anthology, which focused on Ruby Rose during her time spent at Beacon Academy, all while also giving the reader a sneak peek at what the anthologies offer to fans of the series, as well as expressing where it takes place within the universe canonically. So if you have not yet read the Red Like Roses manga anthology, or if you are currently on the fence about picking it up, I highly recommend you check out the video that I did expressing all of my first impressions and everything you have to look forward to if it is something that you're looking to pick up yourself. And I'm pretty sure you won't be disappointed. But actually, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video here, to those of you guys who did watch my Red Like Roses manga impressions video, for those of you guys who supported it, for those of you who went out of your way to not only watch the video, but if that video as a way inspired you or even motivated you to check out the anthologies and buy a copy for yourself, thank you guys so much for your support. So I did heavily express this as well in the initial Red Like Roses video, which was the initiation of my partnership with Viz, but the only reason I am able to have the opportunity of making videos like this, of partnering with Viz for videos like this for you guys, is because of the incredible community and the incredible amount of support that you guys show me with watching the content that I produce and supporting the content that I make here on my YouTube channel. From the RWBY reactions, the RWBY reviews, the live stream discussions, to the news and information videos. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. I would not in any way, shape, or form be able to have the growing community that I have, to have the supportive community I have, to have people who encourage me and challenge me to do bigger and better things every year with all of the forms of content that I have on the channel regarding RWBY or anything else in between. It's ultimately because of you guys that I'm not only willing but also able to make these videos and have these opportunities. You know, I was incredibly surprised and thrilled, and Viz was even surprised and excited to see the overwhelming amount of support and positivity in the comment section of the Red Like Roses video that I did a couple of months back. You know, reading the comments of those of you guys who are excited for the anthology to pick it up for yourselves, and even those of you guys who watched my video and were like, you know, thanks to Murder's recommendation and thanks to the video and all the information that he offered, you know, I'm gonna go pick it up for myself. And that's incredibly humbling, and I definitely appreciate more than anything the amount of trust and faith that you guys have in me to make content like this and to back it and to just support me in that way, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And it is because of your continued support that Viz has once again decided to partner with me so I can deliver you guys the next edition, the second chapter in the official RWBY manga anthology set with the Mirror Mirror anthology, featuring the Ice Queen herself.
Why does everyone keep calling me that?
So it is no surprise here on the channel, but of the four girls of Team RWBY, being Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang, Weiss Schnee is by far my absolute favorite as of Volume 4 and Volume 5. And to make a better comparison, if I had to describe Weiss in the form of a fruit, I would say she had the personality of a pineapple. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are saying, a personality of a pineapple? What the hell are you talking about? Well, you know, when I think about Weiss, you know, coming off as a very defiant and abrasive character in the beginning during Volume 1, it was incredibly hard for me to like her because she came off as very rude and condescending, almost like a bully to RWBY in the start of the show. Though as time went on and as Weiss, you know, managed to bond with her teammates, that rough pineapple exterior peels away and it ultimately reveals a hardened facade, revealing that Weiss is actually a sweet girl who's just been burdened by so many people in her life that leads to that tough pineapple exterior. And we have to remember too, Weiss is the exalted princess. She is the one burdened by the royal test. She is the one that fights the demons and the fears on the other side of the mirror. And for the sake of the Schnee family name, she can't afford to screw up for those who have bet on her and bet on her success for the future of the company. And yet, in spite of all of that, in spite of the lies, the manipulations, the fear, the pain, she is able to bounce back from it all. She's able to brace through all of the hardship and find herself. And that is ultimately the strength that I admire most about her. In many ways, I think people, myself included, can resonate with the idea of wanting so desperately to be true to yourself, but are afraid of what people will say and what people will think of you as a result of that. Especially if the response is in a negative light, and even more so if it's from the people who are supposed to be your biggest supporters, our friends, our siblings, and our parents. You know, being Weiss, being who she is, it is incredible that despite everything, she was able to find herself in the end. And for the biggest place in my heart for Weiss, the greatest strength that she produced of all is respecting herself enough to have the courage to confront those people who are supposed to have her side, her friends, her family, her peers, you know, her people in Atlas, her father, you know, for the sake of her own integrity, to be like, I value myself and I value my future and I value who I am more so than what people expect of me. And that is Weiss Schnee. And it's witnessing and resonating with the physical and psychological evolution from the abrasive and defiant to the caring and confident pineapple that makes me love Weiss at the end of the day. And why she's best girl. So just as a reminder before we jump in, the Mirror Mirror Anthology is currently available for purchase for $12.99 physical and $8.99 digital at a variety of brick and mortar and online retailers. Links for all of the places where you can find these will be in the description, so be sure to check those out. In addition to that, the manga anthologies for From Shadows, which is going to be the next upcoming manga anthology to release, will feature Blake Belladonna and is currently available for pre-order and is slated to release on November 20th. While the I Burn anthology, which features Yang Shalong, is scheduled to release in the first quarter of 2019. So if you're looking for a specific copy or if you're looking to pick up the entire set, be sure to check the description for updates and information, and be sure to pre-order at the available links down below. Now, for my experience of this anthology, I'm going to be breaking down and focusing heavily on characters and plot, as the art style is more or less expressed in the same way as the Red Like Roses anthology, with having a different artist per chapter and being a spread variety of different new and established artists throughout the community. But with all that said, I hope you guys enjoy. Leave your thoughts in the comments, as always, your feedback on the video in the comment section, or anything else that I have to mention. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So this manga anthology is titled Mirror Mirror. Similar to the Red Like Roses anthology, which focuses on Ruby Rose, Mirror Mirror predominantly focuses on the Ice Queen herself, Weiss Schnee. Not only during her time spent at Beacon Academy during volumes 1 through 3, but also during moments of her youth as a member of the Schnee family. Sequences of events are scattered throughout the 170 pages, but events from the show proper go as far back as Weiss's childhood and as recent as volume 3, chapter 3, when Winter first appeared in the show. And from this timeline, we're able to see many correlations and connections that tie into the show proper, such as in volume 1, getting Weiss's perspective of arriving at Beacon Academy for the first time, between volumes 2 and 3 after Team RWBY stops the White Fang train at the finale, and even before RWBY volume 3 when the Brimstone and Hell and Fire take over the Vital Festival tournament for the latter half. And from all of the moments in between, going to the past, the present, and the future regarding Weiss, we're able to see much of Weiss's life as very hollow and hidden and sheltered behind her smile and prestige of her family name. The Red Like Roses anthology did an incredible job at fleshing out RWBY as a character, primarily because it expressed various sides of her personality and emotions that hadn't been seen in the show before. However, with Mirror Mirror, not only does it express events and moments that we didn't get full context of, but it also reinforces the already established character elements that have made Weiss such a fulfilling character. Essentially, we already have a great character of Weiss in the show, and this anthology only adds and reinforces to that, which make her a much more well-rounded character overall. Some of the examples being witnessing how Weiss struggles a lot with, her father and dealing with him at a very young age and having to uphold a lot of the expectations that he has of her, seeing Weiss's young and fragile childhood, and even seeing how and what it took for her to warm up to her teammates when she got to Beacon. And as you read the anthology, you kind of take a step back and you see that Weiss is the Ice Queen. She is the Snow Angel. She is the Snow White of her fairy tale. But what we don't see are the struggles. We don't see the misfortune. We don't see the things that are basically swept under the rug and hidden behind her smile for the sake of her family name, for the sake of her honor, her prestige, her, her renown with her family, and basically what she has to sacrifice for herself, for her humanity, for her sanity, and for her peace of mind, for the sake of other people and what they want and what's best for others rather than herself. And what I really love also about the book is that you're kind of able to see that there are people that come along and are able to piece together the fractured mirror that is Weiss in essence. Just as the song goes, from the burdens of her royal test, from her family expectations, to the liars and pretenders that only care about her last name benefits. This anthology paints a vivid picture of why Weiss is the woman that she is today, and it is absolutely incredible. And for as much as we've seen and for as much as that we've been told from seeing Weiss throughout the show proper, it's astounding how much character reinforcement is given to her, which only makes her shine brighter as a result. And of course, you can't credit Weiss's incredible growth and development without mentioning the array of characters who have had an impact on her life and have helped to peel back on her rough exterior over time. And so I want to give a huge amount of credit to be expressed to the cast of characters that have helped Weiss every step of the way. So this should be no surprise. This goes without saying. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who the first character it is that I'm going to feature and mention regarding Weiss, but the number one influence in Weiss's life that is owed and credited is ultimately to the big sister Winter Schnee. Obviously. And a big thing to express here is, especially with this anthology, Winter is Weiss's pride and joy. Winter means everything to Weiss. And I know the phrase pride and joy could be a little weird to use in this sense because that's usually a phrase expressed from like parents to children or from older siblings to younger siblings. But at her core, Winter is Weiss's backbone. Winter is Weiss's rock. She is the epitome of perfection in her sister's eyes and is the ultimate role model and protector throughout Weiss's entire life, from her childhood even up to where she is now, trying to be independent, trying to find herself, throughout Beacon. As kids, they had it rough, and we can all probably wonder why and who was the cause of that. But at every turn, Weiss was there to take the brunt of the anger and the frustration, to protect Weiss, to keep her safe, to make sure that she wasn't corrupted, to make sure she didn't lose her way, and to make sure that ultimately she kept hope flame burning inside of her, to make sure to know that, hey, things might be bad now, but things won't always be like this. You will be able to leave. I will help you do it. We've seen it in the Weiss character short. We've seen it throughout, volume 3 when Winter came to visit and make sure her sister is okay and give her some words of encouragement. Winter is a great role model. She is a great sibling, an older sibling to her younger sister who ultimately she wants the best for. And I couldn't be happier to see every panel with these two interacting with each other. It is very wholesome. It is lovable. I love them to death. And I'm really happy for those of you guys who are big Winter Schnee fans and Weiss fans, especially because we haven't been getting a lot of Winter within the show, at least since volume 3. So fingers crossed that when they go to Atlas in volume 6 or 7, we get to see more of Winter, because she is an absolute pleasure. She is a treat to see in the anthology and to just ultimately be there to support her sister. So I don't want to get too much into saying this because I know that there are some of you guys who are looking to pick up the manga for yourselves, but little brother Whitley Schnee is featured in the manga, and he's not featured like he's featured in volume 4 where he's very manipulative and conniving. He is so adorable and precious and cute and innocent long before he was corrupted by Papa Schnee. And that's all I'm going to say. Whitley is in the manga. So moving on to the head honcho of the bunch, we have the businessman first and the father/husband never, Jacques Schnee, who is very, very present in this anthology, and I'd say is a critical piece in Weiss's development overall. We actually get to see him during his youthful days, actually, with the black hair that we see him in the portrait that we see him in volume 4 as head of the Schnee Dust Company, and much of his expressions are very much showed similarly in the show. He is a terrible father figure. He is a business tycoon. He does not care about people. He cares about winning. He cares about competition, and he is ultimately, in this anthology throughout, he is the primary source of Weiss's anguish, her anxiety, and her self-doubt. Everything that Weiss fights within herself is through the fact that she has no parental support, right? We don't know much about her mother, but at least for her father, who is a big figurehead for the company and for the family name, doesn't really care much about her. He's just as manipulative, he's just as aggressive, and I'd say he's even worse on his kids when they were kids as they are now as young adults, which says a lot about who he is, from past to present. And especially after reading this, and I was reading this and I was just fuming with how much with seething hatred of how much I dislike this character, because it's like, his kids are like the best that I'm surprised all 3 of his kids came out the way they did, considering his leadership and his parenting skills. But it's no doubt in my mind at this point that Jacques has been created to be this character that you are meant to hate with a burning passion that burns with the rage of 1,000 suns. And he nails it in spades. Jacques Cheny is a jerk. Now, this part of the manga I really liked and cherished throughout, and I'm gonna give you guys it in the form of an analogy. So, if winter is the source of Weiss's happiness and joy throughout her childhood, then the source of Weiss's happiness and joy currently throughout volumes 1 through 3 is credited to her BFF, Ruby Rose.
My BFF! No. Yes.
Now, for better or worse, Ruby is Weiss's BFF. She is the one that keeps Weiss going. She is the one that gives Weiss hope and purpose at this current point in her life. And she is the first friend that Weiss ever made, being outside of Atlas, which is really important for Weiss, you know, moving forward with trying to be more open and friendly and trying to actually make meaningful relationships with people, you know, outside of Atlas. And from this anthology, Ruby truly adds so much to Weiss's respite and peace of mind, also giving Weiss something to strive for and making her the best version that she can be, while simultaneously using any influence that she has as a huntress, you know, being someone who's, you know, been through proper regimen and training and study, to then take that energy and knowledge that she has and guide it towards Ruby to be the, you know, to be an exemplary huntress and be a great team leader, especially since Ruby is a lot younger than her peers. So Weiss ultimately takes it upon herself to not only be the best person she can be, but to be the best teammate she can be, since she learned that from Professor Port.
Hone your skills, perfect every technique, and be not the best leader, but the best person you can be.
And let me just say, I think my favorite moments of this anthology were any moments that were spread out between Ruby and Weiss. They have such adorable moments as teammates, as friends, as anything else that you want to express that as. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people are going to enjoy the Ruby and Weiss interactions, because we already know, right? Like, Ruby is like 1,000 times excitement and energy and hype and adventure, and Weiss is very stoic and reserved and very, you know, meticulous and wants to do things tactfully, and she's always running. You know, it's basically like Weiss is chained to Ruby and Ruby's going like 1,000 miles an hour and Weiss is trying to keep up. And I love that dynamic between them two, and that is expressed throughout the anthology. So I hope you guys, and I look forward to hearing a lot of you guys' thoughts on that. Now, before we wrap up, I do want to say that I don't want to say too much more about any other character interactions and moments that are expressed throughout the anthology. For one, I don't want to spoil you guys. I want you guys to be able to get a lot of that initial impact and a lot of that initial dialogue and situations and moments for yourselves. But I will say that Weiss actually has a lot more extended interaction with Blake and Yang, because I feel like those two characters are characters that Weiss has made progress with throughout the show, but it's only further expressed within the manga itself, especially with Blake and Weiss with their rocky relationships during Volume 1, especially after it was discovered that Blake was a faunus. And we get to see a lot more interaction between Weiss and Yang, who out of all of Team RWBY, them two have probably had the least time spent together, which is really great. We get a dose of favorite characters throughout Beacon Academy, being Velvet, Cardin, the professors, doctors, and headmasters of Beacon, along with some villains along the way as well. So we get to see a lot of familiar faces, which is really fun. So I really hope you guys look forward to seeing all that the manga anthology has to offer in that respect. But all in all, I was thoroughly impressed with the Mirror Mirror anthology of how it expresses Weiss, goes deeper into her psychological and mental state of who she is as a character, what she strives for, what she deals with, you know, on the surface, and not just on the surface, but internally, you know, with the struggles that she's dealt with of being someone of royalty, of nobility, of prestige and renown throughout her life. And I feel like if you're a fan of Winter, if you are a fan of Weiss, if you are a fan of RWBY in general, then you are definitely going to enjoy this manga just as much as I did. You know, unlike the Red Like Roses anthology, which gave us a lot of the missing pieces to Ruby Rose, the Mirror Mirror anthology manages to do the exact opposite by not only capitalizing on the already established factors of Weiss's character, but then going the extra step to only reinforce those moments of her past, her inner psyche, and giving us a truly realized complex character teeming with development and motivation to make her a fully realized, fulfilled character of the cast. You know, and I'll go on record, I'll be the first one to say I personally think Weiss is the best character in the RWBY series thus far, and I would say this anthology only adds more validity to that statement. But with all of that said, guys, those are my thoughts, those are my opinions and impressions on the RWBY Mirror Mirror official manga anthologies. But if you are planning on picking up a copy for yourself, or you already have, Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the manga, this video in general, any of my thoughts and impressions that I had compared to yours. I'd love to know what you guys think about that in the comment section. I'd also like to say thank you once again to Viz for your continued support, especially, and allowing me to be able to represent myself and to be able to share my passion and excitement with the anthology, with my community, with the greater RWBY fandom and Rooster Teeth community at large. And especially if those of you guys out there have been on the fence or have been wondering if this anthology is worth it, hopefully this video was able to help you guys out in fleshing out any more information before you guys made that choice. And I ultimately hope that at the end of the day, this video makes Viz very proud. And last but surely not least, I have to just say once again, thank you to my incredible community for your continued and undying support. And like I said at the beginning, it's because of you guys that I'm able to make videos like this. It's because of your support that Viz trusts me and has the faith in being able to allow me to distribute and share my thoughts and my passions of RWBY with everybody else out there on YouTube and on the internet and everything else. And you know, I just really hope you guys enjoy this. I hope a lot of you guys are willing to check that out and pick up a copy for yourselves. And like I said, share your opinions, share your thoughts with me, because out of all of the anthologies, this was the one that I was looking forward to the most. Weiss's Best Girl. I love her to death, and this was the manga anthology that I wanted to just share my thoughts with fully and wholly. For as many people as possible. And with that being said, I have been Murder of Birds. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, like I said, leave your thoughts of anything that was mentioned in the video in the comment section. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.